And the Lord spake to Moses,
and said, Take thou Aaron with his sons, their clothes, and the oil of anointing, a calf for sin, and 2 rams, a basket with thirf loaves, and thou shalt gather together all the company to the door of the tabernacle. Moses did as the Lord commanded. When all the company was gathered before the gates of the tabernacle, Moses said, This is the word which the Lord commanded to be done. And at once Moses offered or presented to priest office Aaron and his sons, and when he had washed them, he clothed the bishop with a linen shirt, and girded him with a girdle, and clothed with a coat of jacinth, and putted the cloth on the shoulders above, which cloth on the shoulders he bound with a girdle, and joined thereto the rational, wherein doctrine and truth was. And Moses covered Aaron's head with a mitre, and upon the mitre, about the front, he put the golden plate, made sacred in the hallowing, as the Lord commanded to him. And he took also the oil of anointing, with which he anointed the tabernacle with all his appurtenance. And when he had hallowed, and had sprinkled the altar 7 times, he anointed it, and hallowed with oil all the vessels thereof, and the great washing vessel with his foundament, which oil he shedded upon Aaron's head, and anointed him, and hallowed. And his sons offered or presented Moses clothed with linen coats, and he girded them with girdles, and he set on their heads mitres, as the Lord commanded. He offered also a calf for sin, and when Aaron and his sons had put their hands on the head of that calf, he offered it, and drew up blood. When the finger was dipped in the blood thereof, he touched the corners of the altar by compass, when the altar was cleansed and hallowed. Moses poured the blood that was left at the altar's foot. Swiftly he burnt on the altar the inner fatness that was on the entrails, and the caul of the maw, and the 2 little reins with their little fatnesses. And he burnt without the tents the calf with the skin, the flesh, and the dung, as the Lord commanded. And he offered a ram into burnt sacrifice. And when Aaron and his sons had set their hands upon the head thereof, he offered it, and he poured the blood thereof by compass of the altar. And he cutted that ram into gobbets, and he burnt with fire the head thereof, and the members, and the inner fatness, when the entrails and the feet were washed before. And he burnt all the ram together upon the altar, for it was the burnt sacrifice of sweetest odor to the Lord, as the Lord commanded to him. He offered also the 2nd ram into the hallowing of priests, and Aaron and his sons put their hands upon the heads thereof. And when Moses had offered that ram, he took of the blood, and touched therewith the last part of the right ear of Aaron, and the thumb of his right hand, and in like manner of his foot. He offered also the sons of Aaron, and when he had touched of the blood of the ram, offered the last part of the right ears of all, and the thumbs of the right hand and foot. He poured the blood that was left upon the altar by compass. Swiftly he separated by the inner fatness, and the tail, and all the fatness that covereth the entrails, and the caul of the maw, and the 2 reins with their fatnesses, and with the right shoulder. For sith he took of the pannier of thirf loaves that was before the Lord, loaves without sourdough, and a cake sprinkled with oil. And he putted loaves first sodden in water, and afterward fried in oil, on the inner fatness and the right shoulder. And he betook all these things together to Aaron and to his sons, and after that they raised those before the Lord. Again he took them of their hands, and burnt them upon the altar of burnt sacrifice, for it was the offering of hallowing, into the odor of sweetness, of sacrifice, into his part to the Lord. He took also the breast of the ram of consecration into his part, and raised it before the Lord, as the Lord commanded to him. And he took the ointment and the blood that was in the altar, and he sprinkled them upon Aaron, and on his clothes, and upon his sons, and on their clothes. And when Moses had hallowed them in their clothing, he commanded to them and said, See thee the flesh before the tabernacle gates, and there eat ye it. Also eat ye the loaves of the hallowing. There he put in the basket, as God commanded to me, and said, Aaron and his sons shall eat those loaves. Swiftly, whatever thing is left of the flesh and of the loaves, fires shall waste it. Also, ye shall not go out of the door of the tabernacle in 7 days, till to the day in which time of your hallowing shall be fulfilled. For the hallowing is ended in 7 days, as it is done now in this present time, that the rightfulness of the sacrifice were fulfilled. Ye shall dwell day and night in the tabernacle, and ye shall keep the keepings of the Lord, that ye die not, for so it is commanded to me. And Aaron and his sons did all things which the Lord spake by the hand of Moses.